Good.
Yeah. Erev Tov, everyone. Parsha Kisei begins with one of the most mysterious subjects that exist in the entire Torah, that of the woman of the Yafas Toar, the beautiful woman who a Jewish soldier sexually assaults in war. And then the Torah says that he has to marry her and that he keeps her and he cannot abuse her and he can't sell her, etc. So whatever we say, it's not such a pretty story. And Rashi says here a strange thing. Rashi's quoting here the Medrash. So Dibra Torah ela keneged yetzer hara. Here the Torah is speaking only because of the yetzer hara of the person. It's the yetzer hara that drives him with desire to abuse a helpless woman for his own gratification and satisfaction. So this concept that Rashi introduces here is as mysterious as the subject itself. Everything in the Torah is connected Yetzer Hara. And the Torah says not to eat chazer, it's also connected Yetzer Hara. The Torah says not to eat chometz on Pesach, it's also. What does the Torah mean here? What does Rashi mean when he introduces this subject? So I thought about it. I have one approach that I'm going to share with you. The Ramban says in the Parsha of Kedoshim, all the Torah has to be taken together as one entity. You can't just isolate every subject. So the Parsha of Kedoshim, it says Kedoshim Tiyu. So the Ramban says Kedoshim Tiyu means you should be holy. Kadesh es atzbecho b'muter loch. Sanctify yourself b'muter loch, with things that are permissible to you. Now, when we think of the Yetzer Hara, we think of the Yetzer Hara in terms of Averis. Again, to eat chazer, to eat chometz, to be immoral, to steal. The Ramban says, the Yetzer Hara, we're not talking about that. That's certainly off limits. The Torah said, it's also. We're talking Kedoshim Tiyu on things that are mutter. The Torah did not forbid it. But in not forbidding it, it left it to your choice. What do you think about it? So the Torah, in effect, is saying not everything that's permissible is something that you should do, because maybe it's not good for you. And therefore, the concept of Kedoshim, of Kadesh Atzmecha, is Bamesh Muter Loch. Things that are permissible to you. Make a wise choice. Become holy in things that are not permissible to you, have nothing to do with holiness. It's not there. But when you have choices, you should know your Yetzer Hara is working. And your Yetzer Hara can drive you to a wrong decision, even regarding something that is permissible to you. We have hundreds of such examples in life on a regular basis. We don't set out, God forbid, to do an Avera. We're doing something that's permissible. But it turns out that we made a bad choice. And even what was permissible turns out to be bad. So our Yetzer Hara drives us to do things that are permissible, but not really to our benefit. They're not really beneficial. Moshe Rabbeinu is an example of this himself. In the Chumash Bamidbar, in the Parsha of Shlach, it says, Shlach lecho anoshi. So on the word, Moshe Rabbeinu is sending spies. So Rashi there constructs for us what happened, because later on in Chumash Dvarim, Moshe reconstructs the story. He says, all of a sudden I got a delegation, the board of directors had a meeting, and they came and they said, Nishlecha, we want to send spies. And I agreed, and we sent the spies. So what Moshe did was permissible. The Rebbeinu Shalom told him, Shlach lecha. If you won't like it, lecha. The choice is yours. There's no issur in sending the spies. But Moshe, think about it. Are the spies going to be a good idea or a bad idea? Who knows what can emanate from this? And we see as a practical matter what did emanate from it. The spies came back and they gave a bad report, and Jews said, we're not going, and the whole generation died in the midbar. There's no Avera here. God didn't tell them, don't send spies. God told them, Shlach lecha. It's up to you, Moshe. Do what you want. It's mutter. But not everything that's mutter should be done. And not everything that's mutter is going to turn out good for you. So that concept is what the Ramban is teaching us also. Kadesh es atzmecho b'mutter loch. You want to be a holy person? You want to come closer to the Ribono Shel Olam? We're not talking here about not doing Averos. Many times it's perception. It's not the thing itself. A famous anecdote that a certain synagogue, Hasidic group, all the people said that a certain person was not to be trusted in business, that he was regarded as a thief and a charlatan. So the Rebbe called him in, and he said, people say about you that you're not to be trusted. He said, Rebbe, it's not true. I never took a penny that's not mine. It's not true. So the Rebbe said to him, it should be true yet? It's not enough that they say it? Doesn't have to be true. Perception is itself sufficient. So that's part of the concept of Kadesh es atzmecha v'muter loch. Let's see how you behave with things which are permissible to you. We're not talking that you're going to steal, but we're talking that somehow you take advantage of someone. I can't take you to a bezdin for doing it, I can't show you the line in the Choshen Mishpat that says that it's forbidden. I grew up in the yeshiva. The Rebbeim had a phrase that they used to say to us often in Yiddish. They used to say, "This is nicht shame." It's not nice. What does that mean? Is it permissible or is it not permissible? So the Rebbeim were teaching us, we're not talking on that level. It's not permissible. There's no, there's nobody to talk to. We're talking about good people. Is it nice? Is it something to be proud of? That somehow resonates.
I can figure out how to put it in. I can't. I'll figure it out.
This is carrot.
Yeah. I'll give you. I think you might like the picture. I found it. We found it.
So that's this concept of Yifas Torah. Rashi explains to us. We're not talking about doing something that's also. It's a situation that happens in the midst of war, in the midst of violence. All restraints are gone. He can't help himself. So the Torah does not say that he committed an Aveira. But the Torah says it's a poor decision. Because as Rashi points out, the three parshias are smuchin. First will be the parsha of Yifas Torah, and then there's a married woman who is disliked by her husband, and then there's a child that's a ben Torah or Mora. All of these things blend together. They come from one source. And the source is that even what was mutter, even what was permissible, you can still make a wrong choice. And the Yetzer Hara works there very, very well. The Yetzer Hara, which is always our own self-interest, blinds us. That's the connection between last week's parsha of Lo Sukach Shochad and this week's parsha of Yifas Torah. You're blind to what you're doing. So that is somewhat of an understanding of the idea that Rashi communicates to us here when he says, "L'dibra Torah l'keneged Yetzer Hara." Rabbi Chananya ben Akash Omer, "Vatzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'zakos Yisrael l'fizachir v'lahem Torah mitzvos shenemar Adonai chafetz aman tzidko yagdil Torah v'yagdil."